don't you listen to the words they say, spinning tales to get you to fade away. You got something within, screaming loud, give them everything. Keep on the path when they try it, try it. You're the one, don't you hide it, make them uncomfortable. You're unstoppable.
Everyone has that moment in the shower, even myself, where you kind of feel like you're decent at singing, right?
Yes.
You want to take it to the next level, build some confidence. What does that look like? How can you, what steps would you say to take to start to grow some confidence?
I think for me, the steps was actually recording myself and listening to myself as often as possible. I even up to like this year, you know, sometimes someone will film me doing something and I'll be like, oh, I don't want to watch it. You know, as an artist, you put stuff out, but you don't always want to watch it. And I think for me, it was just understanding myself and that, okay, you're not going to sound like everybody else, you know, what you sound like, this is your art, you know, and being comfortable being, you know, having those differences from other people. And that just takes, being with yourself and doing what it is that you do. You know, if you play an instrument, it's practicing, recording yourself, listening to yourself, you know, and appreciating your own talent for what it is.
Have you had a moment of affirmation where maybe you drop a record and you kind of sit back and, you know, you're just enjoying it and being able to finally say, wow, all that hard work that went into it paid off in your life? I know as a musician, like, or anything you do when it comes to arts, most of the time the artist is the hardest person on them, not the critic, not the person writing the review, not the Instagram comment lawyer, you know, but ourselves, right? So what affirmations have you had, whether it was from a friend that you highly respect or?
I'm definitely my hardest critic at times. But for me, it was actually this record was a beautiful time. My past records, I've had comments that really felt really special to me from other people. But for this one, it was somebody a bit older, and he had messaged me and said, I just want you to know this record really touched me, you know, and I'm a father of two girls and, you know, all these things. But this record made me feel like somebody understood me. You know, it didn't feel like you were just writing for a certain demographic.
3 of your biggest inspirations in music were Michael Jackson, Prince, and Beyonce, right? I mean, you know, can't go wrong with those three, right? They have like this character about them. And Michael, actually all 3 of these, they have kind of their music career character, right?
Yes.
A little bit separate than maybe if you're having a cup of coffee with them. But they delivered, they live up to it. And I think that's special. And I wanted to touch on that because I feel like I love the fact that your persona is Maya by name, right? That's what you have a thing, you know, Lady Gaga, Maya by name, you know, Beyonce, like it's got a character to it, and that's not too big for you. I can tell. I know you're still growing into, you know, where you want to go. And everybody should always be growing. I don't care if you got 12 records out and you hit 6 of them are Grammy wins, like that artist, you know, they're still creating new content. Like Elton John didn't stop being creative when he was after winning multiple Grammys, you know. So I think that's
you're done.
Yeah, when you stop growing and learning, and if this goes for the entrepreneur, business owner, parent, you know, friend, whatever your title is, whatever you're doing in the moment right now, if you stop learning, growing, and being creative, you know, you start to collect dust, right?
Absolutely.
To get you to fade away, you got something within, screaming loud, give them everything. Keep on the path when they try it. You're the one, don't you hide it. Make them uncomfortable. You're unstoppable. Ooh, make them uncomfortable. You're unstoppable. Yeah.
This podcast provides a platform for our guests to share their experiences and inspire our listeners to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. As you listen, we invite you to explore how these concepts apply to your own story. You know what to do. Be great and be grateful. We're mic'd up with Mike DiCioccio. Hey guys, my guest today is a singer and songwriter who released her first single at 17 years old. She combines her R&B, hip-hop, and funk influences with a captivating stage presence that caught the attention of Grammy-nominated R&B veteran Tank when she was chosen to open for his Savage Tour right here in Buffalo, New York. She has been featured on Sheen Magazine, Divine Magazine, The Urban Music Scene, and LA Story, among others. As a songwriter, her work has received several placements, notably on NCIS, Behind the Lens. She has been involved in print and web modeling, campaigns for Jared Jewelers, Dick's Sporting Goods, Joann Stores, and Fisher-Price. Her latest album, Feel It First, was released in April of 2020, about a month ago. It's an honor to have her with us on the show. Welcome to the show, Maya by Name.
Hello.
How about that?
All right.
Just sit back and enjoy that, right?
All right.
Hey, you got to be proud. You've been doing a lot. I see what you're doing on Instagram. You're constantly busy, constantly posting. You're also giving inspirational content. You're what I love about you is you're highly talented, but you have like a confidence about you, which we're going to get through some questions. And obviously that's not something you woke up one day and had that confidence, right? So that takes some time. And so this all kind of started, your first single hit when you were 17, right?
Yeah.
So right out of the gates, what I like to do, you have an incredible voice.
Thank
I
you.
acknowledge that already. When did you discover that you had that special talent and kind of that light bulb went off and you're like, I'm on to something here?
I feel like the light bulb went off a little bit later, but my initial kind of like, oh, I can sing and I like it and it's fun was probably first grade. I was like 6 years old and my music teacher had me sing a little solo in class and everyone was like, whoa, that was awesome, because we're all super young and no one really knows what they're going to end up doing later in life. But it really made me feel like, okay, so this is something I'm good at. And then that I just kind of carried that.
So you're maybe what,
Cool.
6, 7?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah,
around
yeah.
6. Yeah.
Wow.
So
did you have musical influence in your family? Was there like an inspiration internally, like in your network? It could be, a lot of people sometimes. For me, my uncle played drums, and I love music, so I just like automatically connected to that fact. And it was nice that when he ended up moving out of town, his drum set was in my grandmother's basement, and he saw me taking interest in lessons, and eventually I inherited his drum set. Did you have kind of a moment like that in your life?
My grandmother actually went to Eastman and she played keys and drums.
Wow.
But I feel like
Eastman School of Music, that's no joke.
Yeah. But the main source of influence in music was just hearing music around the house all the time. Both of my parents played music all the time. So I always grew up just listening to different genres and we kind of played everything around here. So
yeah. And you guys can tune into it on Instagram. It's at Maya by Name. It's MayaByname, as simple as that. And website is mayabyname.com. YouTube, you just search for Maya by Name, and she has amazing content on there as well. We're going to talk about in a second here. What do you feel is the first step? We talked about it at the top of the show to gain confidence, right? So someone's maybe 7 listening, or 15 or 35, and they're like, man, everyone has that moment in the shower, even myself, where you kind of feel like you're decent at singing, right?
Yes.
You want to take it to the next level, build some confidence. What does that look like? How can you, what steps would you say to take to start to grow some confidence?
Well, I know for me, as I said, it was kind of that outside validation at the time where, your teacher and your classmates are like, woo, this is great, but that doesn't automatically make you think you're the best thing ever. I think for me, the steps was actually recording myself and listening to myself as often as possible. I even up to like this year, sometimes someone will film me doing something and I'll be like, oh, I don't want to watch watch it. You know, as an artist, you put stuff out, but you don't always
Yeah.
want to watch it. And I think for me, it was just understanding myself, and that, okay, you're not going to sound like everybody else.
Mhm.
What you sound like. This is your art. And being comfortable being, having those differences from other people, and that just takes, being with yourself, and
Mhm.
doing what it is that you do. If you play an instrument, it's practicing, recording yourself, listening to yourself, and appreciating your own talent for what it is.
Have you had a moment of affirmation where maybe you drop a record and you kind of sit back and you're just enjoying it and being able to finally say, "Wow, all that hard work that went into it paid off," in your pride?
Yeah.
Well, I know as a musician, like, or anything you do when it comes to arts, most of the time the artist is the hardest person on them, not the critic, not the person writing the review, not the Instagram comment warrior, but ourselves, right? So what affirmations have you had, whether it was from a friend that you highly respect, or I don't want to answer for you, but what?
Yeah, no. It definitely. I'm definitely my hardest critic at
Mhm.
times. But for me, it was actually this record was a beautiful time. My past records, I've had comments that really felt really special to me from other people. But
Mhm.
for this one, it was somebody a bit older, a male. I want to say maybe 40s. And I'm 23, and he had messaged me and said, "I just want you to know this record really touched me." And I'm a father of two girls, and all these things, but this record made me feel like somebody understood me. It didn't feel like you were just writing for a certain demographic. It just felt
Mhm.
like you were writing this for anybody. And that was really special for me, because I don't always set out to write for one specific type of person. I just want to inspire people just as humans,
Right.
because we all go through similar experiences. So messages like that are really, really special
It's
to me.
funny that we appreciate, and this isn't anything against friends and family. We
Yeah.
obviously appreciate them, but there's more weight. I feel like, it's not something that's really thought about or that mindful. But when you hear someone who doesn't necessarily know you or
Yes.
have any motive behind just the fact that they genuinely heard something and made them feel special, and they want to share it with the artist.
Best thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah, I love doing that as well.
Yeah.
Again, so off camera, you mentioned to me three of your biggest inspirations in music were Michael Jackson, Prince, and Beyonce, right? I mean, can't go wrong with those three, right? What is it about each of them that you appreciate most?
Mm. Michael would be his stage presence, and
Mm.
also his ear. He had a very special ear. I don't know if I'm correct in saying this, but I don't recall him playing instruments. But he could tell you exactly what he wanted to hear from
Mhm.
the musicians in the studio, and he had
Yeah.
a vision for exactly what he wanted the sound to be like. And that's something that I think was innate to him, but also just so incredible, and it inspired me. um,
It
Beyonce,
helps when you grow up and you got a built-in band around you too of all
right?
talented
That
family
too.
members. Yeah.
That too.
He
That
obviously was a unique talent, and rest in peace, Michael. But yeah, I was a fan. A little bit more growing up. I really enjoyed, like, when he played at the Super Bowl and the Bills were in the Super Bowl that year. I don't know. I was maybe 5, 6 years old, and it
yeah.
was. I just remember it was like the biggest moment on planet Earth. The
Yeah,
whole.
I wasn't here for it,
You
but
weren't there. That's right. That's right.
oh
Oh man,
my.
now I feel like an old man. Let me tell you about. There was this Michael Jackson guy at the Super Bowl.
No,
Um,
my parents showed me that video early on, and it
yeah,
was one that I still go back to and just
he didn't shy away from a big moment,
not.
and he delivered. He delivered. And yeah, I think a lot of people kind of later on respected him more for his songwriting ability and how he connects with musicians and everything like that.
Absolutely.
Um, and Prince too. Recently, I mean, not that recently, he played a Super Bowl show where it was the first time I identified him as a guitar.
Mhm.
I knew he played guitar, right?
Yeah,
I knew he was a great musician, amazing singer, the whole thing.
yeah,
And what I love about, some rock and roll stars, I know he's more pop, but like he still has that persona.
yeah.
Um, they have like this character about them. And
Mhm.
Michael, actually, all three of these, they have kind of their
Yes,
music career character, right? A little bit
yes.
separate than maybe if you're having a cup of coffee with them.
Right.
But they delivered, they live up to it. And I think that's special. And I wanted to touch on that because I feel like I love the fact that your persona is Maya by name. right? That's what you have a thing, you know, Lady Gaga, Maya by name, you know, Beyonce, like it's got a character to it. And
Yeah.
that's not too big for you. I can tell. I know you're still growing into, you know, where you want to go. And everybody should always be growing. I don't care if you got 12 records out and you hit 6 of them are Grammy wins, like that artist, you know, they're still creating new content. Like
Yeah.
Elton John didn't stop being creative when he was into after winning multiple Grammys, you know.
Yeah.
So
And
I
if
think
it
that's
stops, you're done.
yeah. When you're
Never
when you stop growing and learning, this goes for the entrepreneur, business owner,
stop.
parent, you know, friend, whatever your title is, whatever you're doing in the moment right now. If you stop learning, growing, and being creative, um, you know, look at something that's sitting on a shelf next to you, and it's almost like, I hate to sound very cold, but you know, you start to collect dust, right?
Absolutely.
So I love it. Your persona is great. Again,
Thank
it's on Instagram. It's at Maya by Name. Website is mayabyname.com, and YouTube. Go check out her content, Maya by Name. You can search it right there, Maya. And your birth name is Maya Gabrielle Satterwhite. Beautiful name,
Thank
right?
you.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, Maya Gabrielle Satterwhite. Yeah.
So tell us, I know you shared with me off camera, and it's a cool story. It's not something that's kind of gimmicky. It actually has cool meaning. Tell us about how you came up with Maya by Name.
Okay. Maya by Name has always been my Instagram handle.
Mm,
I thought it was cool. I really had no other reason. I was like, oh, I'm Maya by Name. And I remember putting out my first project, Arrival, which was my first EP, and I put it out under just Maya. I wanted to go
mm.
by Maya. I wanted to be one of those one name, you know.
Yeah, like
Um,
Prince, like we were
yeah,
talking about.
like
Yeah.
Prince, Beyonce. So I remember putting it out and it released, and I couldn't find it under my name. And there were a million other Maya albums that weren't mine, of course.
Mhm.
And I emailed iTunes support. I was like, I can't find my project. How do I handle this? And they said, well, there's a lot of Mayas, so change your name. And I remember looking at my Instagram handle like, huh, well, what if I just tack that on to the end? Then it'll be
Yeah,
different. So
yeah,
it's that simple.
yeah, and now it's like, you know, people recognize it. It's
Oh
not,
yeah, I actually
"What is
get called
this?"
the full title in person. So
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, I love it, and you know what? If you wanna change it, like, you know, talk about Prince again, he changed him, the artist formerly known
right.
as Prince, he had the symbol.
Yeah.
You know, I think just like, you know, Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson, but when people refer to him in conversation about music, a lot of people say Michael, right?
Mhm.
You know,
Just Michael, sometimes MJ, you know.
yeah, MJ, you know, and the same thing, like Beyonce Knowles, Beyonce though. People say Beyonce, and you know, so I think, you know, you keep doing your thing. I'm not
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you could make a choice if you want to simply go by Maya. I feel like that can come down the, you know, that can happen as well. Now
yeah.
I noticed you, this is interesting. I saw you playing a little guitar in kind of a promo video, and I was like, "Wait, is that her? Did you see with someone playing? You're rocking the guitar, right?
Yeah.
Have you been playing guitar as long as you've been singing? Is that something we can expect a little bit more trickled in on your albums?
Yeah, I actually started, I picked up the guitar when I got my first one. I think I was like 11 or 12.
Okay.
Um, and I kind of been playing it on and off. My past records were a bit more R&B, hip hop, funk focused.
Hmm.
That was just kind of how I was feeling in that moment. I wanted to be more of a stage performer, work on my big performance and the sparkly outfits and that kind of stuff. And but I still kind of played in between there, and it was something I returned to on this new record, Feel It First, and I actually
Hmm.
played on two of the records. On the project. So
Okay.
yeah, it's something that I've kind of always trickled in and out, and now I'm kind of just bringing it back a little bit. It's just kind of how I feel in this season,
Yeah.
playing a little bit more. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's
Thank
awesome. It's just a natural gift you got going, you know. I could see I see the glow. I could see it when we're talking about creating and playing, and the
Yeah,
smile on your face is, you know, it's covering the screen, you know.
thank you.
Now, to match the quality of your singing and songwriting, you have strong music videos. Got to compliment those as well. So, Rolando, this is a shout out to Rolando Rosado. He directed for you.
Yes.
Also, I noticed, and the more I do this show, I notice a lot of people have mutual connections. Denny Kremlis is a friend of mine.
Yes, Raymond.
Yeah, Raymond. That's like, I watched that music video yesterday and I was like, whoa, this is deep. And it was, and
Yes.
then Denny, it's like every time I watch Denny, he like impresses me every single time. So I'm not surprised. I should not be surprised, but then he hits me and I'm like, this music video is as good as anything I've ever seen
Thank
with
you.
any budget, and just fantastic what he does. And then obviously you, and then was it a friend that was in the video with you?
Yes,
Playing
actually,
Raymond?
I had kind of put out some feelers, like, who might want to be a guy
Yeah.
in the video?
You guys crushed it. It was
Thank you
awesome.
so much.
So you guys go and check this thing out.
Thank
Raymond's one of many. I mean, there's other videos. What was the one that you did with Rolando? I really liked that as well.
We actually did two. We did Since '96 and Rose Petals together.
Since '96 was my jam yesterday as I was working on your notes.
Oh man.
I was digging it. So here we go. I can tell, like I said, when you're performing, you're in your element. I see it when you're goofing around on Instagram. You do like a 30-second video. You're warming up your voice, doing the nose, right?
Yeah,
No.
you saw that.
You're in the zone. And what do thinking about it all, reflecting on it right now, what do you enjoy most about creating music?
Just the release, but also just the limitlessness of it. I can really just sit here and well, I guess I've given myself that limitlessness to just do whatever the heck I want to do.
Yeah.
I know that some people don't have that freedom, but
Like, you look at the moment as a ball of clay, and you're just excited that you could turn it into anything you want, right?
100%, and just not being afraid to release things that maybe aren't out there, and talk about topics that aren't out there, because somebody can relate somewhere, and being okay with maybe being a little different and saying things a little differently and kind of going for the punches. So
Yeah, I don't see that with you at all. You're like very straight and narrow. You don't like to have any kind of fun and be different. Like, you're saying every time I see you, you do that.
it's straight.
You got character and charisma. I'll say this again, like, you do have the it factor. I feel that. I want you to hear that and have it resonate with you. It's charisma. It's not something that is built overnight. You've been doing this confidently since you're 17.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing? I mean, how long ago was your 17th birthday? Let's do some math.
Like 6 years ago. I don't know math.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in your early to mid 20s, right? It's kind of, I don't like to assume, but I kind of put you in there based on all the things you've been working on, right?
Yeah.
And so again, like, this is being built up over time, but I want you to know that it's just a matter of time until the universe is going to award greatness. And I truly mean that. Like, anyone I follow, I'm working on it myself. I say be great and be grateful. And what I mean with the be great part is that when you go to sing, you prepare, you do the no. Like, you don't just skip a step. You are doing it day in and day out. You're living it. You have a microphone set up in your bedroom. Like, you don't waste any time. You get 2 feet on the ground and you're ready to create a new song. You press record, new idea rolls, and then you're in the studio. And before you know it, Denny and Rolando are directing the video. And then you got Mike popping his head while he's doing some notes for his podcast, and we're all good, right? So the be great part is putting in all those intricate daily tasks that you need to do to build. And I see you doing it. So keep doing it. The universe is already awarding you for, look, nothing's given and nothing's guaranteed.
Not at all.
All I'm simply saying is, I've seen people come and go in the industry and everything. And I see there's no reason that Maya by name isn't next in line for the appreciation of what you're doing.
Thank
So
you so much.
keep rocking and rolling. Do what you're doing.
Thank you.
I really like this too. You have an album out called She.
Mhm.
It does have some darker undertones,
Yes.
but I know in our personal conversation when we were talking about doing the show, you have mentioned you battled depression, right? And so I want to ask you, the darker undertones are personal stories that you're telling in your music.
Yes.
How are you doing now? And then what kind of message would you like to deliver to our audience? Someone who's listening and maybe they're going through some trials and tribulations and some deeper stuff right now.
Well, right now, I'm doing much better, actually. It's the whole kind of end of 2019 into this new year, I really put in a lot of work into my physical health, my mental health, my spiritual health, but all of these things kind of really took the time to dive in and really align myself with who I am, and that took some time. It took a lot of
Yeah.
time. I'd say, man, depression's not easy. So first, I would say you're not alone, and it is very difficult. It's not something that you have one week and it disappears.
Mhm.
It's something. It's an ongoing process working through it, and I would say find something that no matter what mood that you are in makes you
Mhm.
really happy. For me, of course, music was one thing, but I got really into my fitness, which helped me so much with my mental health because I would wake up and I would go to work out or I would meditate or I would do yoga and I would immediately feel better about myself.
Mhm.
It's an immediate kind of endorphin rush, and you
Yeah.
immediately have this you feel uplifted. So I would say, find something, journal every day. That's something that I also do,
Mhm.
which is new to my routine this
When do
year.
you go back to review what you're journaling? Is it
Yes,
daily, or how often do you reflect on what you write?
every month, every month.
Oh, you go back and
Yeah,
okay.
I gotta look back and I'm like, okay, here's
I
kind of
write I write in my notebook every day, and
yeah,
usually it's notes. It's like, so if I need to go back on a project, what was I thinking here? What was I saying? Like when I prepared
yes,
for this, I had
yes,
notes from our phone call. But one thing I need to get better at is that's not necessarily journaling, but is actually what you're talking about. Just letting your what's in here go
yeah,
to the page, so you can kind of release it, and then it feels like okay, that whether it's creativity, it doesn't have to be creating music, it
yeah.
could literally be a thought or a thing or something. You journal it. Now it's like proof that it exists almost. And then you can go back. So you're saying a month later and reflect on the month. I think that's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, even just yesterday was the new moon in Gemini,
Yeah.
and I wrote my 6 month intentions. So in 6 months, we'll see if the things that I want to get
Yeah.
done are the things that I'd like to manifest and all that kind of stuff. And I really got into that this year, and I've seen how it's just help my mental health because I'm excited about the possibilities of manifesting a different reality for myself and just being positive, about it and optimistic. So
Yeah. Mind, body, and soul, they do go together as a
they
triad, right?
absolutely go
Yeah.
together.
And shout out to a friend of mine, Laura Marcella, who was on the show. She is a mindset coach. And I noticed
Wonderful.
new
That's amazing.
the moon came out, that I saw her post about it yesterday, and
Yeah.
she's like, you better get your 6 month goals ready to rock and roll, because like what you ask for right now, I mean, the universe is listening to you. You better
Yeah.
connect and do what you give it the most you can. Don't go here. Don't go here. That's why I say, I don't say be good and be grateful.
Right. Right.
Hey, do
As
something
much as you
awesome.
can, and don't be afraid of asking
Yeah.
for things that you think are outlandish.
Yeah.
Because nothing's out of the realm of
It's
possibility.
manifested, right? You think positively, you said it. I'm thinking positively every day.
Yep.
You're hanging around a group of people that are more
Yes. That
positive
we
minded,
surround
right?
yourself with. Yeah.
Your
100%.
influence and your think is now improved. And then
Yes.
also what's really cool about the world we live in is we're clicks away on Google to whatever we want. So you can go and you can check the news and beat yourself up and be depressed, or
Yep.
you can go, and again, I know depression is not just something that it's as easy as I watched a happy video and
Yeah.
everything's
Of
okay.
course not.
My
Of course.
point is, like, you can go, and whether it's business and you're stuck, go
Mhm.
figure it out. It's all there for us. Our library is not something that's limited to the upper class like it was 100 years ago, where only certain people had information, and like lower
Absolutely.
class, the reason they struggled was they didn't have as great of information. They
Yeah.
until like public libraries came about, and even then it was like not always the easiest for them to access and things. So
Yeah, one thing I would add to that real quick as well is because you mentioned it, what you're intaking in your social media. One thing that I did was purge my social media. So the people that I'm following are people that inspire me, or people that make me laugh, or people that I learn something from.
yeah.
You are going on your social media every day, and everybody that you're following makes you want to compare yourself, and you dislike the things about yourself, or
Mhm.
they're spreading a super negative message. That's not going to be helpful at all. So that's something I would encourage you to do.
I agree. Yeah. And then that's a rabbit hole too of just you think about it. one thing and you're off the rails again.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, it's being mindful first, taking actions. I see you doing all the right things, and now I'm hearing you even more, and I'm even more connected to what you're talking about, and uh, this is so much fun for me. Like you're in your element when you're creating music and you're doing something that is a little bit challenging. So you're not going into it mundane. That's one of the things that people, they get burned out in their 9 to 5 because they've done it over and over and over, and it becomes mundane, and the passion behind it starts to dwindle pretty quickly, and all of a sudden it's a paycheck. Well, doing the show for me is not a paycheck. I don't have any sponsors.
Right.
Mostly intentional right now, as I'm still in growth
Right.
here.
It's a passion. It's a passion project for you.
Passion. And guess what? Like, I met people like you through this podcast, through
Yeah.
another guest who
Yeah.
met a middle connection, right? Talked to that person, and they were like, you know who you need to have on the show.
That's so cool.
I was like, please tell, and here you are.
Yeah.
Look at this. I know it's important that look, I want to give you the platform. We talked about it again off camera about having a identity, right? Everyone has their own identity. Sometimes people are on social media and they're losing their identity when they're seeing someone else and trying to play copycat. And it's sometimes not intentional. It's just a human habit. They see something, I want. And all of a sudden you become that, and you're not really your own identity. So tell us, how important is that to you? And what recommendations can you give to our audience to make sure they're connected with their core?
It is extremely important to me. It's probably the most important thing to me in my music, or just in life in general. That took me time as well. This whole project for me was kind of returning to an identity that I felt I was losing. I felt like I had started to write for the world and not for myself anymore. And I had to kind of go back and remember why I started writing in the first place, why I started even creating in the first place. How do I want to heal myself through what I'm creating? And so this project, Feel It First, kind of returned me to that a little bit. Like I said, I picked up the guitar again, and I was writing more for the opportunity to express myself and have that relatability, as opposed to, oh, this could be a hit record. Oh, this could be something that blows me up, and it's really not about that. The creation process for me has really never been about that. And when I felt like I was losing that, I took a break. I stopped writing, and I kind of just sat with myself like, who are you?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Because you're not that right now.
You can get so far off track if you continue to do these little things that's the same thing with being busy.
Yeah.
Opposed to being productive. Like if you're busy on the hamster wheel, you lose your identity, because everything that you're chasing becomes your identity. And then it's like, what am I doing this for? And why am I doing that? You know what I mean? And that can go for any project. So,
Absolutely.
but it's good when you pull yourself, you go, get back over here.
Right.
You do it. You got to almost like look at yourself, grab yourself by the shirt, get yourself over here, sit down in the chair. You're not getting up until you start to have some of these deeper conversations.
Yeah, and the happiness or the fulfillment that you're looking for, and I used to believe it would come from, if I get to this place in my career, if I make this much money, if I wear this hat, that'll make me happy.
Then I'll think about it, right? It's like, wait, then you're thinking about what? You got to start now.
Happiness can happen right now, right here, wherever you are. Searching for it in these external things is very short term.
It's a good analogy too. And I struggle with this too. It's you want to get to a place of financial freedom. That's one of my personal goals as well. It's because you can take care of your family, your friends. I want to get mom her dream house and
absolutely
whatever location she wants, because of how much she does for everybody else, and she's always putting herself last. And in the near future, I would love to, again, and she's not even asking for it. She isn't one of those
right?
rewarded by income and stuff. But the fact is, we have one opportunity to live, and people think money is bad. To me, money is simply access. So it is a ticket. You want to go to Disney, you have money, you can go, you can experience that with your family. It's a ticket to that happy moment. You want an ice cream cone after work, you could stop and get the $6 thing because you're not worried about not making money that day.
Exactly.
So in the hands of the right people, it's simply access and they get to do more things. You get to
Absolutely.
reinvest it and stuff like that. But if you don't have a system in place to help you kind of hang on to it, you see someone like an athlete go from college student to $1 million athlete, and then 3 years later they might have an injury or something, so their career is a little bit short. They should still have multiple millions to work with,
Oh,
and
right.
they go from that to 1 year later being on an ESPN video saying they're broke. And
Right.
and I don't necessarily totally fault that athlete because they're experiencing something that is like anybody listening to the show. I don't care what you got going on, but if you're not experiencing it, and then all of a sudden you experience that particular thing,
Instant.
1,000% magnified, whole world's looking at you, and you're given almost anything you want, and then all of a sudden you're like, now we're not giving you anything at all. Do you know how to replicate what we just gave you?
Right.
Well, you don't have a system. So people who like are struggling paycheck to paycheck, if we dropped $1 million on their porch right now, do they know how to invest it? Do they know how to save it properly? Do they know how to divvy up a budget?
Yeah.
And that's what I struggle with too. It's like,
Yeah.
when I do have a bigger payday and stuff, I kind of struggle with that same stuff, is like investing it in the right places. And then I'm on the phone, like calling the right people because I'm not the knowledgeable person for those things.
Right.
Um,
It's giving away those things to people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. So it's the same thing with music. Like that's why there's a producer. That's why you have a music video director. That's why as you grow, there's going to be someone that's literally working with you on your branding,
Yep.
right? You're going to have someone answering the phone calls for you and stuff because they all are allowing you to do what? Your superpower.
Creative.
And that is what? Your identity.
Yep.
That's you. You're not getting away from it because you're not trying to wear 1,000 hats.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, the independent journey is definitely one of many hats, but I feel like that also, that starting out like that and having that foundation of wearing all those hats allowed me to get to know myself, because now if I want to hire somebody, I can say, hey, this is who I am.
that's
I'm
such a
telling you, so now we can work. But it
yeah,
took
it's
time to
good.
learn who I was, so
It's good to have the jack of all trades thing gets a little bit muddy because
it is.
I do think that's a great saying, jack of all trades, master of none. If you're only doing it that way,
Right.
I think it's a good thing to be a jack of all trades when you start. Again, I'm not trying to counter what I said about identity. I still think it's super important to find your identity, find your superpower, go with that.
Absolutely.
But in the beginning, as again, I'm talking kind of using business here to as an analogy because I know our audience is tuned into business as well as you are. Because look, you're no different at the end of the day. You're a business, right? I mean, you're looking to get more gigs once quarantine is lifted and everything else. But so what I wanted to say about that is jack of all trades. Let's say you open an ice cream shop. We talked about ice cream a minute ago, so it's on my mind. You want to know how to scoop the ice cream the right size, the different flavors, how to get inventory, how to do distribution,
Yeah.
how to make sure the place is running, scheduling people, everything else. Now, if you're a business owner and you just throw it all together with other people and you have no checks and balances, you
Mhm.
don't actually know how they're doing, like why they're doing what they're doing, and how you can help.
Right.
If you're simply like a silent business owner, right? So I do feel like, hey, if you're the person who ran the lemonade stand and did newspapers, and then you got a job and you've done some sales and you did some managing over time, and now you got one employee, two employees, and now you're open and you're on the side of Transit Road in Buffalo here, like, and you have a nice ice cream shop.
Yeah.
You get it. But then you get to a point when you want to scale that business and you start to put
Absolutely.
people in place. So if your brain is the marketing behind your brand, you can go and do that 40 plus hours a week. It's not
Absolutely.
scooping ice cream anymore because now
Right.
you actually know how and why it all works. So you
Right.
can train people, and then you can train people to train people,
Exactly.
and it continues to build.
Yeah, for
So
me, for example, I've just in this season because I'm sitting around and want to do it, but also in the past, editing my own videos and
mhm.
doing things that involve other skills.
Yeah.
So that also allows me to kind of understand, when I hire someone to edit something, I kind of know the process. I know how long it takes. I know these various
Yeah.
things, but then I can also count on myself, if there's maybe no time or budget or whatever, I say, well, you know what? At least I can do it. Let me get it done. So
Yeah.
it allows me to do things on my own, but also to understand the job that I'm hiring somebody else to do.
I
So
think that's the hustle in your heart too. Like, you don't want to sit around and wait for people to do it. So
I
you
never
get it
do.
done. But at the same time, like, it's nice when you sit with Rolando or Denny, you
Yes.
can say, hey guys, I see like a master shot in the beginning, and then we're gonna cut to something really tight. And then
That's
once
exactly how it happened too, is I kind of wrote
just
out the
do it.
video treatment, and then we'd sit down and he'd say, okay, this is what's possible and this
Yeah.
is what we can kind of do with that vision.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
I think as a director and editor of content myself, we appreciate when someone has better understanding, because then you appreciate what we're doing because you know what goes into it, opposed to someone that just has this like cartoon like, oh, we're gonna do this, that, and the other thing, and they have no understanding of what's needed for it. So I think that again, having all those different elements of creativity is super strong, and that's going to push you forward. Absolutely. So we talked about your career. You got multiple albums out. You have some really cool moments. At the end of the day, most importantly, you are strong in your own identity. You battled some things, some demons internally.
Yeah.
You got through them, and thank you for sharing that with our audience. If you had to identify one moment that really stands out to you, that you're like, wow, that is so cool that I was involved with it, or maybe it was a performance you had. What was your like number one highlight to date? Something you can really be proud of and reflect on.
Mhm. I think you mentioned one of them. I'm not sure I can pinpoint the most the most
Yeah.
moment, but Tank was a big one because
Yeah.
yeah, it was a couple years ago now, but it was so cool because it was kind of the shout out online with his kids in the video was so cool, and they were saying my name and they're like, "You won!" It was so cute. But I think for me, it was he's on my iPod, he's on my phone, he's in my iTunes, and he's saying my name. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then being able to open, obviously here in Buffalo in my city is so cool because all my friends got to come, and it was just kind of
Where was the actual performance at?
it was at a venue on Chippewa.
Venue. Okay. Very cool. Yeah.
Yes, it was just it was a cool moment. It was kind of my first major moment performing, and of course being able to do it here was really awesome.
Did you get a chance to have kind of a candid conversation with him, or was it just all business? Like, you're on now, you're off now, he's going on, and you kind
Um,
of felt
we
like,
had
oh
we
man,
had
I wish I could
a
talk to him.
kind of small like, hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. That kind of little conversation, but it wasn't too long. But he
Yeah,
was super super nice and genuine.
that's
My
good.
immediate reaction was, yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, that's really cool, because sometimes those moments, everyone, like, whether it's a little kid looking up to their baseball, hero
Yeah,
or whatever, football in this town, we got Bills Mafia going
right.
crazy, and like, I'm sure every 10-year-old kid would love to meet Josh Allen, but then, they might, and I think Josh is a great guy, so he's not someone that I'm picking on here, but maybe he's having a bad day and he's in the supermarket and he's being like, he's got to run out because something just went wrong, and a little
Right.
can I have your autograph? And he's just like, next time, buddy, and runs out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he would do that, but just anybody. I'm picking anybody. So
Mhm.
you can have that moment backstage, and maybe Tank is whatever dealing
Right.
with the situation,
Right.
and like, you're like, man, this whole moment was built up in your head, and it doesn't go,
Right. Right.
and it can kind of make the whole process sour. So I'm glad
Yeah.
it went well. Obviously, sounds like you have a mature enough spirit and mind that if that did go sour, you wouldn't be like, that's all, I'm never doing
Yeah,
this.
I think for me it was kind of if that would have happened, I think you just take it with a grain of salt. Like
Yeah.
you're human,
Not
whatever.
everybody's able to do that. Someone like I
Especially
had
if
the
you're younger, for
yeah, I
sure.
had the privilege of meeting Chad Smith, one of my favorite drummers growing up from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Mm.
And it was very short, 10 seconds. He was running into a restaurant before I got to see the Chili Peppers in concert
Oh, sweet.
in Cleveland. And I told the story a couple times when I was interviewed about like people ask me about a cool moment, like as far
Mhm.
as working with an art or meeting someone.
Yeah.
And that was it. But thankfully, it was positive. It was
Yeah.
just so short. It almost like he couldn't really get too much of a vibe. but I've had other moments where I met some people, and it was nice to see that they are what you hope they are.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing for sure, especially
When the cameras aren't on, that they still have that nice personality, that character that you hope they have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't hide from that anymore. I mean, social media. Like,
No,
part of what I love about the '90s. I know you're a '90s baby, right? Something, and 90s and everything that happened beforehand. There was a mystique about a rock star or a pop musician like Michael Jackson, or anybody like Prince. He came out, he's on stage, larger than life persona, gone. Right? You got to pick up Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
To read about what the heck's going on.
Yes.
You don't know what he's having for breakfast. You don't know if he's eating Wheaties right now because he's snapping it.
Right.
There is no snap. There's, so I kind of miss that. Like bands I loved in the '90s, like the grunge bands, they had this kind of, I don't want to say it was like dark or whatever. Like their music was awesome, right? And they were all different, but like, nobody knew what Kurt Cobain was really thinking on a daily basis. He would do these quirky interviews, and it made him kind of
his personal life out of the spotlight.
And then people really hit him though. Like everyone was trying to always dig up stuff.
Of course.
Courtney, right? Courtney Love. And but the thing is, like, I think what made people care so much about it was it wasn't exposed all the time. Yeah. Like if you give everyone every single thing you're doing, and I think that's the thing with social is like everything is just a click and you almost need to be doing it. Look, I own a social media marketing company, so I'm not. I think it's so important to get content out there and get your messaging out there. But I feel like with an artist, there's a magic behind having a little bit reserved.
Yes.
Fans kind of have some mystique behind.
I think there should be a strategy to it. I definitely think too much is not always a good thing.
Yeah. It's about being real.
Yeah.
You're not fake. Every picture should not be your cover image for a guy on GQ or or women on you name it, magazine where you're just like, every little airbrush,
Right.
So if that's every single picture, you're losing some transparency.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, time with your family and like the anti-paparazzi moments are meant to be for that person, right?
Absolutely.
Here's what I want to do. I want to play one of your songs, one or two.
Cool.
Okay, we have time for two. So why don't we do that? Let's play one off your recent album, your choice. What would you like our audience to hear right now?
I would like them to hear What's the Price?
What's the Price by Maya by name. Here it is.
What's
right, guys, that again was What's the Price? And the artist is right here with us, Maya by name. And what album is that off of? Is that off your recent?
It is. Feel It First.
Feel It First. Speaking of Feel It First, we're going to hear that next. But first, we're going to do lightning round. You ready?
Whew, I'm ready.
I know you're prepared. I know you think on your feet. I can't get one past you here. We're going to try to mix it up. One new skill or positive takeaway from the quarantine?
Cooking.
Cooking. What is the ultimate accomplishment for you? Like if you can say, this is what I want to hit.
Being happy.
Being happy. Love it. Favorite books or podcasts or inspirational content?
My favorite book right now is The Power of Now.
Power of Now. And you can share real quick who's it by and that's okay.
Lightning round.
Power of Now. Well, I'll tag it. I'll put it in the notes. If you can be known for one thing, what would it be?
Inspiring you to be yourself. Love your uniqueness.
Yeah, that's awesome. I felt that was coming. And we could slow down lightning mode. We're going to put it into half speed because I want you to take some time to answer this one and really let it resonate with the audience. Okay. One message to leave our audience inspired to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams.
To inspire them to be brave and bold?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Obviously, you're doing that already through your actions.
Can I leave with a piece of advice?
Absolutely.
I would say your greatest asset is you, is yourself. Invest into yourself. Grind is great. The grind culture brings out a lot of incredible things, but I think we often neglect that time that we need to take for ourselves, to get to know ourselves, to find out what it is that we want out of life. And it might not just be a bigger bank account. So I definitely think you should, make sure that you are putting just as much effort as you are putting into your business endeavors, into yourself.
Yeah. And rejuvenate too. That's one thing I need to be more mindful of. A friend of mine texted me this morning. She sent me a video yesterday about mindset, rejuvenation, law of attraction. And I started to watch it last night, but it was like 2:00 in the morning. So she's like, what'd you think? And I was like, I got about 20 minutes in. But right. I loved every second of it.
Yes.
I need to, at 7 o'clock on a particular day, say, now I'm putting it on when I have energy and I'm able to digest it properly and apply it, right? So I think that's great. You got to take care of you at the end of the day. Oxygen mask.
Yes.
Right? You can't help out your brother, your sister, your friend, your family member, the little kid who's looking up to you as an artist if your oxygen mask is weak.
Yeah, you can't be your best self.
Yeah, I love it.
Take the time.
Be great and be grateful, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit with 3 items, your top 3 that you're grateful for.
I am grateful for my notepad. Notepad and pen.
Like slate, right?
Yeah. I am grateful for items. I am grateful for... Is water an item?
I would say so, sure.
Really grateful for
hydration. That's an interesting one. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I know you're out in the sun doing workouts and stuff, but also you have more of a kind of a spiritual connection to how hydration is makes your body. It's so important, right?
Yeah, I'm of course grateful for how it makes me feel. Of course, exercising and making sure you're staying hydrated. But also just grateful for having clean water.
I understand. So you're talking on a deeper level where.
Yeah, just having access.
In the States, kind of take it for granted to run a faucet.
Yeah, so that's definitely something I'm grateful for.
Yeah. You know what else I'm going to go on? I'm going to riff on this for 1 second. The most important element to civilization can be said to be water. I'm not making this up. It's not my opinion. It's stated that you can bring, I'm a Rotarian, right? So we're service above self. We serve the world. I'm in a local community here in Western New York or West Seneca, New York, where we help with projects here, but we also have a clean water project in Ghana. And the number one thing for a civilization to thrive is water. You can go and build a school somewhere. You can put food in a supermarket. But if you don't have clean water to make it all work, right? To clean the groceries, to have sanitation, to do simple things that we take for granted, like flush a toilet and everything else. Just provide water. It's so important for us to be hydrated, that for survival. And so literally the first thing you need to do is go and build water wells, which is why that's so popular now.
Right,
If someone clean water, that starts to become a resource to them, an everyday resource. And now you can start to build into supermarkets, schools, fly in some books, whatever you want to do. But water is an essential thing. And so I've never had anybody give that answer. And at first I kind of thought it seemed, I don't want to say silly, but I was like, where's she going? And then it reminded me. So thank you for the reminder how essential it is.
Absolutely. And then I think my last would be honestly my computer. Just having access to creating, the type of content that I want to put out, whether it's music, I'm editing, if I'm just listening to music, if I'm on the internet, searching, whatever it is, I'm definitely grateful for the access that I have with this big square.
All right. Are you guys listening to what she said here? Okay. We have highly talented, amazing artists, right? Which a lot of people are aspiring to grow this right now. Those are my words. She's not, very humble, very humble. But look, the three things that are most essential to Maya and her success are her notepad, water, or let's call it clean water, right? And access on a computer. What do we all have? Most people listening to this have a notepad, they have water, and they have a computer or access to the internet to go and do something. Start there and find your identity, build it out, whatever you are looking to be great at, whether it's singing, whether it's business, whether it's an athlete, you got it. Go do it, right? Go do it. Whether it's quarantine or not. I mean, you have a little bit more time possibly just to learn and research. So when you start to take action, or you should already be doing some form of action, but let's say you go into full force action once the quarantine's lifted, you're going to be some more prepared. Preparation is a whole nother thing. You don't just wake up and start. If you're recording an album, I'm sure you're not just going to want to run into the studio in a frantic, and just say press record.
I wanted to, but you can't.
Yeah. Sometimes there is like a good thing about just like yesterday I interviewed Ryan Doyle of the Doyle brothers, and he was like, he hopped on the call and he's like, I was literally 30 seconds ago jumping on a trampoline with my niece. Now I'm doing an interview. But part of that like craziness is kind of like loosens you up for an interview.
Of course.
But you don't want to live life on every moment of every day upside down and frantic, because then, again, that's not good foundation to build on, right?
Yes.
Notepad, water, computer, obviously your microphone right next to you there. I'm excited for your more content to come out.
Yes.
As you can tune in, very easy to find Maya because she is at mayabyname.com. You can search for her on YouTube, Instagram, and where else can we find you?
Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all Maya.
Okay. I am, I don't know if I have TikTok. I've checked it out. I don't want to sound like an old man here again. I do like it. I think it's super creative what people are doing with it, but I don't want to get zapped into the time.
Yes.
People go on, watch TikTok and 6 hours rolls off the clock. That's dangerous too.
I just kind of started putting stuff that I would have put on my Instagram anyway, and just putting it on the platform. It's something that people are using. I
think it's fun.
Benefiting a lot of people. It's really become a major market for a lot of people.
There's some people that are referenced as TikTok stars because
it's become actually a job and a business. So it's a beautiful thing, but
it's a beautiful thing,
as with all socials, take them as they are, don't overdo it.
When I'm researching someone though, like I'm looking for them to be them. So if I want to hear you sing, I'm going to probably go to your Instagram first and actually hear your material. And then if I want to kind of see a little bit more of your personality side where you're letting your hair down and have some fun, that's going to be more TikTok. Every channel has its own use, and they're all a little bit different from one another, which is actually a beautiful thing. We don't need 6 of the same. You can go doing 6 of the same kind of show or foundation like it's on TV already. So
Right.
this was a lot of fun for me. We're going to play another song. I feel like only hitting one song is not enough for people to hear how well versed you are in your range as well. That first song was a little bit more upbeat.
Yes.
And this is gonna be a little bit more.
This is actually one that I played guitar on, and it's guitar, and I produce the strings myself, and that's it. So
awesome.
It's very different.
Is it acoustic guitar and some strings going on? This song right here is off of Feel It First, and it's also titled Feel It First, Maya by name. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I got an obsession with time. Always stopping to look back or keep my mind on the days ahead. If we knew we would be dead, would we keep our eyes on the clock? I got an addiction with pain. Sabotaging myself for discerning too late after the storm has passed. If we knew the future forecast, will we keep loving the wrong ones? Hey, I guess I'm just human, and that's just how life goes. Tell me, is this it, or where do we go? The truth is no one knows. I wonder what's out there in space. Looking up at the stars, moonlight's embrace. One day when I am through, I hope I'll be up there with you, shining down on the world. Ooh, I guess I'm just human, and that's just how life goes. Tell me, is this it, or where do we go? The truth is no one knows. Hey, I said, the truth is no one knows. Hey, yeah, I said no one knows. I got a confession to make. If I had a crystal ball right in front of my face, I wouldn't wish for a thing. Don't wanna know what's next for me. I wanna feel it first.
I love you guys. Thank you so much for making this journey as much fun as it's been so far. I'm doing what I love, and it's awesome to hear that it's showing up in the podcast. If you haven't left a review yet, it's greatly appreciated if you do. And of course, if you share any content on social as well, I see it all and I appreciate you helping me spread the love. You can check out more show notes and information at mikeduppodcast.com, MIKED uppodcast.com, powered by Social Chameleon. You know what to do. Be great and be grateful.